An update has landed for the Expert Series 1, the ATR 42600 or 72600, but it's not a normal update. The update also contains an expansion. Let's roll the intro and then after that look at the details of this nice update. It was in the air already for a long time, right? That's already been delayed a few times, but here it is, the Expert Series 1 ATR 42600 and 72600 update and expansion pack. The good thing about this is that it includes two new types of the aircraft. The 42600S from Shera, the short takeoff and landing, also known as the STOL aircraft, and the 72600F from Foxtrot, the freighter version. Besides this, the aircraft received several updates, and you can find all the updates or the changelog on the forum. So let's have a look at the forum to see what has changed, right? So let me zoom in a bit. So the first thing is that the aircraft will be updated to version 1.0.46. You can simply install it by going to Flight Simulator, then going to the Content Manager and then install the update from there, or hitting the bell icon in the right top of Flight Simulator and then install it. I will show it in a few seconds, so if you don't know how to do it, then keep watching this video and I will show you. As mentioned, two new aircraft types, so I will not go into too much detail there. Then there were several fixes, right? So first of all, they fixed an issue with the gear not fully extended when the hydraulics is lost after landing. And also they added a new runway threshold calculation. That's for sim update number 15 and afterwards, before sim update number 15, it worked correctly. And after that, it stopped working 100% correctly. Then they also changed the VNAV pad following to higher precision, right? So the VNAV pad is for climbing and for descending. And that's now using a more higher precision, because in some cases it didn't follow it 100% correctly, but that's now fixed. Then the other fixes which are included, the ACW buses supply logic with ACW external power and BTC off, as well as the TAT warning logic on the ground is now fixed. And the VFP arming logic is also being fixed, right? So the VFP stands for the vertical flight path. Then in the menu of the MFD, they made some changes where the VCP move menu is now usable in the MFD and the plan mode. So if you switch to this mode, then you can use the VCP move menu, which was not possible prior to this update. Then they fixed several modes, the VOR, the BC and the app mode, which are the autopilot modes, which did not activate when offside nav source is used. That's now being fixed. And they added a marker for the max throttle position for the calibration window. So that's just for calibration for your joystick or for your throttle if you want to use it. There's now a marker which makes it easier to calibrate your joystick. Then the electronic flight bag. Some options have been rearranged, right? So which simply means that they switch the options, but we will look at that later on. And they fixed an issue that caused the transactional alt and the true takeoff data confirm input to be constantly overridden after landing. Wasn't very useful, but now it's fixed. Then the TGT, the target IS showing -1 on the VNAV page is being fixed, and the maximum flight director pitch command in ES mode is now set to 15 degrees. A bug which caused the cruise IS calculation to be incorrect, and they also fixed the GPWS inhabited issue, which now is all being resolved. Then there are also some other things which they have added. First of all, they added a new function to correct the fuel flow in idle mode, right? The valet and hotel mode, as well as they added several entries to the aircraft.cfg log entries for the new aircraft types and the new Highline version. The new Highline version, I'm really wondering what it is because it's not mentioned in the release notes at all, but let's have a look at it in a few seconds. Then the flight model has been changed in the flight model config payload entries for the ATR 72600, right, which is the FedEx version. And they added freighter support for the electronic flight bag. So this is all new functionality due to the fact that they introduced that new model of aircraft. Then they fixed the EWD previous next page arrows. In the EWD, sometimes displays are wrong, right? That's, it says going forward and backward in the electronic displays. That sometimes didn't work correctly, but that's now being fixed. As well well as they added the additional highline variants to the 42600 and 72600. Almost to the end of the fixes, they added some payload support for the Highline 03 variants, and they updated the electronic checklist to version 37. Those are the checklists which are available in the aircraft, so not the one which you can enable on the top right, but simply in the aircraft which you can use. And they fixed some art fixes, right? So the art fixes are now there. There is a known issue with the freighter version, which has a tendency to roll right. So the workaround is to trim left wing down or remove the default payload. It's currently being investigated, and likely there will be a fix shortly after the release of the aircraft. So it's good that it's there, right? The weird thing is that it still shows on the 9th of October, while the aircraft has just been updated and just been released, but still cool. So now let's have a look how to get the update. And to do that, we need to start Flight Simulator, of course, but I will not show you the entire piece, right? Because that's something you probably are familiar with. So I will start recording again once Flight Simulator has started. So once Flight Simulator has started, you normally would see a bell here which says the number 1. But to speed up the process, I already installed the update. But to show you quickly how to get it, what you need to do is you need to go to your profile page. And in the profile page, you can go to the content manager. Likely if there's an update, it will show update available over here. And then you select the update and simply install it. To save some time for this video, I already did it because it will take some time, right? It's roughly 1.7 gigabyte if I'm correctly remembering. And it will take some time depending on the internet speed of your internet connection. Then going to what has changed, right? So first of all, if you search for ATR, you will find the 72600 Foxtrot. And I do think that this one is also new. There are not too many changes. Unfortunately, there's only one livery. It's the house livery. There's no FedEx or UPS livery included. And you can see that there are some weight changes, right? So you can see that the payload has changed, right? You can see containers over here, which makes it, I would say, pretty cool. Besides that, there's nothing over here which is different. Then the other type, then we need to go to the aircraft selection, of course, is the 42600S, which is the stall aircraft, right? Which can be used for shorter runway takeoffs and landings. Also, this one only has the livery, the house livery. And you can see that the weight and balance are, I'd say, similar to the 42600 aircraft itself, if I'm correct. So that's really cool, right? You can change the payloads over here, which is cool. For this review, we're gonna look at the 72600 Foxtrot, right? So I'm selecting it, I'm placing it on an airport, and then let's see how it looks like. Based on your internet, or based on your machine, sorry, I should say, on the power of your machine, it could take some time before it loads the first time because it needs to compile some stuff. In my case, the first time it went pretty fast, right? This is the second time I'm doing it, so I'm kind of cheating. But that's just to make sure that you're not waiting for ages until the video has loaded. So this is the aircraft, and this is the freighter version, right? You can see it, it looks pretty nice. Nothing different compared to the, let's say, normal aircraft, I should say. But it still looks pretty cool, right? So you can see a lot of detail here. And of course, we can see the cargo door, which you can open from the inside. So let's do that. If we go to the panel, then you will see, if you go to the aircraft, that you can open the cargo door, right? You can also open the other doors. So let's do that. Then let's go outside. And that's where you can see the entrance of the cargo. The strange thing, at least I found it strange, is that although you set a payload, you won't see any, let's say, containers in here. But that might be me. I'm not sure. I just checked this aircraft for the second time right after installing the update. So I do expect that I need to do something more to get the containers showing up here. But for now, it doesn't show it. But for some reason, the payload is there. If we look at the details, right, it just looks similar compared to the, let's say, previous version of the ATR. But I would say it looks magnificent, right? Then if we go to the inside, There are some few things which you need to know. First of all, I looked at the options, and unfortunately, I couldn't see that many options which have changed. But that could be due to the fact that they didn't change that much. I didn't spot the order change because I think this looked exactly the same. Maybe the only piece is this part, which I was not 100% sure about, but I couldn't find any previous screenshots from somebody sharing it. So that could be that these are new, which looks cool. And here we've got the throttle set up, right? So make sure that if you're starting it for the first time, that you're configuring your throttles correctly. Make sure that you're saying single axis if you've got a single throttle, and dual axis if you've got, I would say, separate throttles which you want to use. And also make sure that your reverser axis, right, putting the aircraft in, say, backward position, or in reverse mode, I should say. Make also sure that you set that correctly. And once you've done that, right, you can configure them by, say, placing the throttle in the correct position. And the tools are over here, right? So make sure that they're in the correct position. And then click on set to make sure that you're adjusting these values. If you made a mistake, you can always go back to the defaults by pressing the default option. But that's, let's say, kind of easy to do, right? If we look at the rest of the electronic flight bag, not too many changes, right? We already saw the other systems which were there already. We can press the GWS, we can repair the engine, we can do something with the reset the fire protection also if you want. Resetting the brake temperature, and you can also refill the oxygen, which you now and then need to do. When to do it, it's clearly described in the manual of the aircraft. So have a look at that if you want to do it, I would say, on a regular basis. This one, also not that many changes, well, besides the cargo door on the front, of course, but that's only for the freighter version, of course, not for the other version, but that still, say, makes sense. And then we've got the other options which we're used to, right? Such as the payload and the performance, as well as the flight plan. And the flight plan, you need to first log into SimBrief, right? So make sure that you're signing into SimBrief, then you can import the online flight plan, and then it's over here. While discussing the payload, I was thinking maybe we should press this option and then simply say start loading. You can see that the aircraft now kind of resets. Also, some things are changing here. So now let's go back to the back of the aircraft to see if they're now containers, right? Because now I'm curious. Still no containers. So not sure if this, I would say, is expected. If you found a way how to add those containers, a little bit low, then let me know via the comment box below this video. And with that, we're already at the end of this video, right? Where we looked at the freighter version of the ATR 72600. Unfortunately, no special livery, just the default livery is there. But likely, if you go to the community sites, right? For example, flightsim.to, you will find a lot of liveries for this aircraft really, really soon. I think if you would check it already now, even though the update has just been out for a few hours, you will find some stuff which people already created. Here ends this video. Thanks for watching it. I hope you liked it and I hope you found it useful. If you found it useful, then make sure that you're hitting the like button, which will help, I would say, making YouTube promote this video a little bit more. And if you want to see other videos, then, of course, consider subscribing to my channel. And I wish you happy flying and hope to see you back next time.